Okay, on this one, we're going to actually talk about shadows and light and just the basics of the fundamentals of how light actually works, how it bounces off objects, reflected light, things like that. So I'm going to draw, and you're also going to learn how to draw an asymmetric box at the same time. So it's a 2-for-1 on this one. So let's get started with that. Okay, so we have the reflected light. And so we have here is where the starting of the shadow starts. So it's easy to assume that here is where one of the darkest parts on the box is going to be. So it would go from dark to more light. Not such of a big change, but and also same with here. But when drawing a box in shades, it's important to pick out a side that will be darker than the other. And since this part looks like to be more of in the dark area, we would make this one darker than this side. Now, as far as the light is concerned, on the top, we have light coming on the top. It's coming from behind the box. This part, or this corner here, might even be highlighted. So it's not easy to assume that this is going to be the brightest part in the box. And it's going to kind of become not as bright, but still bright, but just not as bright. So if we have the brightness from here, and it will just kind of dissipate slightly, just ever so slightly to this part. And that's basically how a shadow box would work. But just remember to, instead of drawing, solid colors or solid shades, that you have to keep in mind of such things as called, reflected light, and other things that if you wanted this to be actually shiny, then actually have reflections in these. Okay, but as far as the shadow goes on the ground itself, there are other parts that are going to be darker and lighter around the shadow. If you actually look at a shadow, it's not always the same color or the same shade all throughout. The darkest parts, since showing the least amount of light towards it, is going to be actually the bottom of the box. So here, these points all around in this part of the box are actually going to be the darkest. So from there, it's kind of less of a shadow, becomes brighter and brighter and brighter, but still within the darkness. So that's your basics on how light works and shadows work on a basic square.